Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Morning Tea with me, Tracy B. Allen. uh, Morning Tea is a show that aims to inspire, educate, and motivate you into the next level of your life or your career or business. So today with us in Morning Tea, we have Lynn Chachowski. Am I saying it correctly?
Yes. Chachowski or Sisersky, both
Okay,
works.
Sisersky. All
I
right.
know
So
it's a long
Lynn is the Wix doctor. So she is an expert on Wix website and can help you through the entire process of getting your Wix website to do exactly what you want it to do, right? And so she is going to be talking to us about why websites are important, what you should have on your website, the whole gamut, because we know that basically our website is the only thing that we own. We don't own our social media platforms. We don't own them as much as we may think. So you can wake up any morning and they can be gone. But as long as you pay your monthly subscription to your website, that's your home base where people can go and find you, interact with your products and services.
Right.
So Lynn, go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
Yes, my name is Lynn Sisersky, and I am known as the Wix doctor, although Wix websites aren't the only websites I do, but I liked the play on words. I found you because I love how you're promoting veterans, and I am an Air Force veteran. I was in the Air Force for 4 years, stationed in Aviano and Sembach, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been started as a graphic designer, and I've been designing since forever, since before the Air Force. But I was a public health specialist in the Air Force, but I found myself creating a lot of their marketing materials to get their information out to the local community. So I've been, no matter what career field I've been in, I've always been doing marketing.
Okay.
So, the marketing, I was in marketing and design during the launch of the whole e-commerce boom, and have been in this arena pretty much since the infancy of the internet and e-commerce. The first website I helped launch was called magazineoutlet.com, and that was a sister company of Priceline. And it helped me get a better understanding for banner ads and affiliate marketing. That was at the very beginning of affiliate marketing. And I've worked in marketing and design ever since then. I did get a degree in the military, and when I got out of the military, I went back in and got a second degree specifically in graphic design.
Okay.
Back in those days, they didn't teach web design, so most of my web design skills are self-taught. But if you talk to any web designer, they'll probably tell you that 90% of what they've learned is self-taught as well, because it's constantly changing.
Right.
You think you've got a handle on something, and the technology changes immediately.
Right.
So up until about a year ago, I was the marketing director for a series of 14 retail stores under a home and garden / pet brand, a pretty big pet brand, and decided that I wanted to get back into business for myself. I missed working with clients. I love that, like finding a creative solution that fits that specific client, and I really missed that one-on-one. I felt like I was spending a lot of time behind a computer, and I missed that face-to-face and getting the feedback from customers and things like that. So during this whole COVID business, it happened to line up, but it turned out to be great. So now more than ever is when people really needed my services, and things just picked up right away. I decided to focus on Wix websites training, because I was hearing a lot of frustration from people who, you know, it's one thing, you want to start a business, you want to keep your budget very small, and
Mhm.
absolutely get started, you know, figure out email marketing, figure out how to do your website, definitely get a website. But they're getting frustrated because these tools are marketed for everyone to use, but there's certain details that if you're not a web designer or you're not in marketing, it's hard to find the right tools that you need. So I created a service where I can speak one-to-one with clients and
Mhm.
do something like this on a Zoom call. I can actually show my screen with people and
Mhm.
walk them through, or take over their screen to show them how to resolve a problem. So I'm
Okay.
problem solving live for them, or I'm actually creating a website from scratch for them. So I do that with Wix sites, but I also do it with Shopify and WordPress sites as well. So not just Wix, because I know. And I just actually finished a Squarespace site for.
Okay.
It's any kind of DIY platform that people feel like they've reached kind of a brick, a wall.
Yeah.
Try to help them get over that wall, or I do, or if they're just say, I give up, I don't
Mhm.
know where to start, I help them take it from design to completion as well.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people want to do their own websites because it's very expensive to have someone build your website for you. And like you said, when people are in the startup phase, a lot of times they don't have a lot of money to spend. So they're figuring, okay, well, Wix markets itself as a DIY, do it yourself type website. And I've done my own website both on WordPress and on Wix.
Yeah,
WordPress, of course, was much harder to deal with
I
because
agree.
it's a lot more technical, a lot of coding
Right.
and that type of stuff. And I'm not coder friendly, right? So once my website on WordPress crashed about 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
I was like, I can't operate like this. Um,
Hmm.
at that time, I was in my startup phase, and I was like, I also cannot afford to have someone maintain my website right now. So I
Right.
went on over to Wix. I actually like Wix.
Yeah.
I built several websites for myself, like my daughter and a few friends on Wix. But you do come up, you still need some level of coding after you get to a certain point, and you
Absolutely.
want to create, more interactive
Right.
type things on your website.
Right.
So yeah.
And I think that's fantastic that you created all those websites. I think once people get into Wix, they're like, oh, this is fun. Like, I just actually got off the phone with a client recently,
Mhm.
and he's having a lot of fun with it, but it is time consuming. Like, you have to make sure you set aside, 8 hours later, you're like, oh, I just put a contact form on my site. I
You
was
are
proud of
so right.
myself, but that took 8 hours to
It's
do.
like the SpongeBob effect. You're like, wait, I just got on here to do one thing. Why am I still here four
I
hours later?
know.
It's like
It's a
ridiculous.
rabbit hole. I
Yeah,
know.
you really have to weigh out your time versus money.
Exactly.
Which one's more important to you at that specific time? Is it more important to you to save money right now because things may be really, really, really hard?
Right.
Or is it more beneficial for you to have time to do other things and you pay someone to get it done for you expeditiously and the way you need to get it done?
Right. And being a business, this is my second business. I did have a gallery and design business about 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And I did go back to corporate and then came back. So
Mhm.
this is my second go round for being a business owner. So I appreciate that the budget slash time limitations or
Mhm.
challenges. So when I'm working with a client, I do give them a variety of options. Either, they can purchase a pack of time and we can do a FaceTime
Mhm.
or a Zoom call, and I record the call so they can reference it later.
Okay.
Or, after I have that initial discussion with them, I
Mhm.
get a better feel like, do you really have the time and the energy and the skill set to, start pulling your hair out over a website, or do you want to just let me do that and then baby step it into,
Mhm.
into the next level? Because like you said, everybody does need a website.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people feel like they can get by with just a Facebook page.
Mhm.
And absolutely, definitely do Facebook and, Instagram. Those are fantastic platforms.
Mhm.
But a Facebook page will only go out to other people that are using Facebook, whereas
Mhm.
the website is working for you 24/7 and it reaches worldwide and it's working all the time for you. Where Facebook, you have to rely on someone to be a friend or
Right.
be able to find you specifically. Um,
Oh, you happen to pop up in the algorithm.
exactly, exactly. And so you should have a Facebook page because you will come up in search in the search engine on your Facebook page, but you need to have a website as well.
Right.
And that website is a good way to supplement. Even if you have a one-page website that just,
Mhm.
lists is very basic and lists your services and hours, do the one-page website because you need that to kind of to as a supplement to your Facebook and your social media and a way to boost your return rate on that organic search engine that everybody's going after.
Right. Right. So one of the things you talked about is that you also help people like setting up their CRMs and stuff.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about why CRMs are important and what are the best ones for especially newer entrepreneurs starting out. Um, how does that relate back to having a website versus just having a social media platform to advertise your products and services?
Well, yes. So you want to have your CRM.
And for
Well,
those who don't know, CRM is customer relationship management.
right.
Okay. So
So
yeah.
Wix has a CRM built in. It's called Ascend.
Mhm.
Um, it's a great tool. There, some people might be familiar with maybe Hootsuite or Mailchimp, Constant Contact. There's a lot of free apps out there. Um,
Mhm.
the one built in with Wix I really like because it's got the customer management tool. So you can do email marketing forms. You can do scheduling, which is great for a lot of people who are have taken their business completely online. So they're
Mhm.
doing interactive courses and Zoom meetings and things like that.
Right.
You can set up subscription plans and manage your customers that way.
Mhm.
Um, you can also link it up with your social media pages. So you can have a sign-in form on Facebook that also links up to your email marketing. So you can market specifically to people who have opted in through your Facebook page.
Mhm.
A CRM, I, especially now during this whole COVID craziness going on right now, if you're not doing email marketing, you are throwing money away because I personally feel like it is your highest return on investment. Um,
Mhm.
there are email programs that you can get for free. Send in Blue is one of them that you can have unlimited contacts. There are levels of subscription, but if you're starting out, you can get one. Even MailChimp
Mhm.
has a free level of service.
Mhm.
And even if your list is 100 people, that's 100 people that are engaged with your brand or your product that you need to stay connected with you, and you need to stay connected with them.
Mhm.
And the open rates are phenomenal this time of year, especially. But um, now that people are home and have more time on their mobile devices and they're spending more time on the computer,
Mhm.
the open rates on email are
Much.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you do, someone just have a basic sign up form on your website, say subscribe, even if once a week you say, hey, here's 10% off to schedule a 15-minute consult,
Mhm.
or hey, thank you for shopping local. That it just keeps your brand in that person's in their psyche, so
Mhm.
they'll remember you next time. It keeps you relevant. And it doesn't cost anything really. So CRMs can be used for email marketing, for customer service, which I highly recommend if you do any kind of, if you have a catalog or do any kind of product sales online, always set up a customer service CRM so you can track what customers are asking for, and you can take a look at your inventory and see, okay, people are trending to ask for a certain thing, or they want a shirt in blue that you don't offer. If you're keeping track of that next year, you can buy better based on the information you're receiving from your CRM. You can also use it if you're in consulting or sales. It's a very good way to track your leads and the process from taking them to a lead to an actual client. And you can see, it takes 3 emails on average to get someone to feel like they can trust you enough to pick up the phone. That sort of information comes in super handy. And it's really difficult. I am still an analog person. I still take notes.
Me too.
I love notebooks.
Me too. I have tons of notebooks, especially when I'm moving, and I realize how much physical writing I do. Because I just have, I swear, I don't have at least 7 5-subject copybooks with just notes. I don't have it at all. Yeah, I still like to physically write. Even if I'm going to construct like an email or something, I will physically write it out first before I start typing on the computer. So yeah.
You're a woman after my own heart. I have tons of little notebooks, but that doesn't mean that this is the most efficient way to do things.
Right.
I love to take notes, but to look at a big picture, a CRM definitely can be handy. And we could talk about specific ones if you want, but if Wix specific, I do recommend Ascend. For email marketing, MailChimp is a good entry level. It's very easy to set up. Sendinblue, I like because the deliverability is very good. They have lots of add-on apps, and it's the rates are not prohibitive for a small business. So, yeah. Hootsuite is also great. The feedback I've gotten from some clients is that if you're not tech savvy, there's a lot of bells and whistles, and the learning curve is a little steeper for Hootsuite.
I didn't even realize that Hootsuite was the CRM. I have Hootsuite, but just for schedule and post.
Right.
That's the only thing I do on Hootsuite. I never even realized that it had other capabilities.
Yeah. And it's a great program. It's awesome program, but it's just, it's difficult because there is a bit of a learning curve. Another one that I've been using lately is called ClickUp. And
someone just introduced me to ClickUp.
Oh, good. I use it as a project manager mostly. So I can't tell you all the bells and whistles in there, but I love the project management software. Because I can work with teams and share files and videos and things like that. It's a really good timeline tool.
I was using, and I still do use, what is it called? Asana.
Oh yeah, I love Asana too.
But someone just introduced me to ClickUp, so I'll use it for a separate project with a different company. My own company, because I like Asana, but yeah.
I like Asana too. I always forget about Asana, but I love Asana as a project management. Actually, they have a really good CRM too. And then the last one that I would recommend as the entry level is Zoho. Has a very good CRM. And there's a lot of add-on tools. So as you feel comfortable with one, you can grow and use their other apps. There is a subscription fee associated with that, but I think it's budget friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what tips and strategies can you give people who are, I guess, looking to really rev up their websites and get more traction on their websites. Because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people complain about is
Yeah.
the inability to get eyes on their website
Right.
and get themselves through the algorithm. Most people, I'm sure their websites are probably on page 10 or 50
Right.
of Google, and
Right.
everyone wants to get to the first or second page of Google. Of course, everyone's ultimate goal is to get to number one on
Of
Google.
course. Yeah.
It does take a
Of
lot
course.
of work, a lot of behind
Yeah.
the scenes SEO, and just it's very time consuming. So what kind of quick tips, strategies can you give to people who are trying to get there?
Okay. The first thing to do is if you are a business that's just doing consulting, how can you hit a niche market? What is your niche? What do you specialize in? What do you feel passionate about? Like, what part of your business are you most passionate about? So I do web design. I use WordPress, Squarespace, Shopify, Wix, but I focus on Wix because those keywords are very hot right now. Um, and I look for trends based on the tools and services that I provide. So the first thing you should do is make a plan. Always make a plan. I do have a good, if I self-promote myself a little bit, I do have a free checklist on my website. You don't have to, you can, it's to sign up for the, my newsletter, but you can unsubscribe just to get the free content. You don't have to stay subscribed.
And that's a good strategy that you just said when we're talking
That's
about
a great
CRMs, right?
Yeah.
How to get people to sign up for your CRM, to get onto your email list. A good strategy is to give away some type of freemium in the
Yeah.
form of a checklist or an ebook or something to that effect. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and all they have to do is just a first. I would recommend a first name just so you can personalize your email
right.
and an email address.
Mhm.
And always make it set up for a two-factor authorization or two-factor opt-in so
Okay.
that you're not getting robots that are signing up or people that are giving you false emails just to get your content. Um,
Right.
but I love checklists. So the first thing, I have 2 checklists that are free on the site, but there's a really good checklist on my website if to help you plan.
Mhm.
The other way to get started on your plan is to go to trends.google.com.
Mhm.
Under that website, it's a free website.
Mhm.
Google will show you can compare up to 3 words at a time to see
Mhm.
what kind of check the pulse of the search terms that you're looking for. So you can kind of pick 3 topics that are in your niche market and kind of see those terms, weigh those terms against each other in Google Trends, and then you can, if something has a score of 1, and it's based on a 0 to 100 scoring system. So it doesn't, 100 doesn't mean that 100 people have searched that. It just means it's like 100% of the total are
Mhm.
searching for these terms. And you can see trends by location and by search term. So if you have a business that is if you just want to focus on a 50-mile radius, say you have boutique and
Mhm.
do hand poured soy candles. I have a client that does that.
Mhm.
You can look for the search terms in your neighborhood or in your state or in your region,
Mhm.
and see which terms are trending. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's great.
Mhm.
Um, and that's a good way to start your keyword search list. There's also
Okay.
a free tool called Moz, M-O-Z. They have a subscription-based service too, but it is a keyword helper that you can attach to Google Chrome. It's one of
Mhm.
the apps that you can attach, and it will show you, if you do some keyword searches, it'll give you suggestions on the right-hand side of your search window to
Mhm.
see what the best terms are for your area, or what kind of search terms are trending.
Okay.
And then once you have a really solid list of good terms, so some besides doing business consulting, those terms, you might want to set up, look for terms like business consultants near me, graphic, or as you know, I'm a graphic web designer. I would look for search terms like web designer near me, Wix web designer, website design. So check different spellings too. If you have a niche market where the spelling is always wrong, or people mistakenly spell things wrong all the time, take a look at that misspelling too, because you can be number one on that misspelled term, especially if it's something misspelled all the time. A good example is I had a client that was selling Leonard Skinner shirts, and I didn't know where to start with to spell Leonard Skinner, but the search term spelled incorrectly was actually doing really well on, and he had built that into his website the way that was.
Wow. Okay.
That helped him get higher in the charts. So look for misspellings too. A lot of times, if we talk specifically about Wix, Wix has a great SEO. SEO means search engine optimization. A really great built-in SEO tool that's overlooked probably 80% of the time when someone is setting up a new website.
Well, that's one of the things, not to cut you off, but that's one of the negative things that you always hear about Wix, is that you would never be able to rank on Google if you use Wix because it doesn't have a good SEO. So it's surprising to hear you say that. Yes,
I actually think they do. Yeah. I think the problem is that most people that use Wix don't know how to correctly use the SEO tool, or they overlook it. Anytime you set up a page, you want to make sure that the tabs, if you look in the tab on your website, you open up several windows on a browser, you'll see that there's a title in the little folder tab at the top of your browser window. Those are your titles on your page, and those are what Google's looking for. So always make sure those are set up, that the page title, so if it's your home page, you want to be very specific. So for me, it would be Wix website design. And then I use the slash, the Wix Doctor. Make sure the Wix Doctor, or the name of your business, is on every one of those tabs, which a lot of people overlook. And if your business is local or relies on a regional audience, make sure you get your town in that title tag too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So you have a limited number of characters that you can use, but you want to, especially if it's regional, make sure, like I live in New Haven, Connecticut, I would have New Haven, CT, if I want just my customers to be in that area, because Google does look for that. They want to be as local and relevant as possible. So anything near me,
really good to know that.
Yeah, you want to have that title tag.
Really good SEO, because you always hear that, like, oh, you need to go to WordPress. You need to go to WordPress because Wix doesn't have really good SEO. So it's good to know that.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping up now. So if you had to give top three tips for people who want to get into entrepreneurship and want to start a website or fix their Wix website or do something on Wix, because we're just going to focus on Wix today, right? Those three tips.
Plan is the first thing. Checklist. Go online. A checklist is so helpful to go. I'm a linear. I can't always think linearly, but I am a linear. I like steps. Clear steps. Look for starting a business checklist. So you make sure that you're doing the right things at the right time. It can be very overwhelming to start a new business, and you want to do all the creative stuff first. But sometimes you need to set a good foundation, and that's when finding a checklist is a good way to get started. If you if you're planning on starting a business, definitely get your web name purchased right away. And do not purchase, let me back up. Purchase your web address. I would recommend GoDaddy or one of those URL. You can buy a subscription for your URL. And make sure that you do your research before you choose your URL to make sure you can get the handle for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so it's consistent. Many times people have 3 different handles for their Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram feed, and it gets very confusing. And then, it's people don't understand. You want it to be as intuitive as possible. You purchase, for me, it's thewixdoctor.com. So I made sure that all my handles were exactly the same. So your handle is anything after that.
The @
for any of your social media pages, and that would include YouTube too. Try to be consistent. If you can, I understand that it's sometimes difficult to find a consistent handle, but down the road, you'll appreciate the fact that you put the time in to get one that's consistent against all those brands. So once you've got a great name and you know the direction you want to go in, go ahead and purchase that URL and look for the right handles right away. As far as a website is concerned, you need to make sure that your pain threshold, you kind of take a test of yourself to see, okay, do I like doing coding? Do I like figuring things out? Or am I really better off leaving the coding to someone else? Because it will be time consuming, and that time is your money. So you want to be able to invest in the marketing and customer engagement, and that time you can spend with your customer, and let someone else worry about the coding sometimes. Your email marketing too, because sometimes that gets to the point where people are like,
I know. I totally agree with you. Anything with social media and email marketing, those are two of the things that I like to.
Right. And that's fun. And that's where your personality comes across too. And anything that you can shine in, put your energy in that. If you think that you can't, let it, find the right person that's a good fit for you and let it go to someone else, because your time is money. And sometimes that's a hard one lesson. I learned the hard way. I'm sure most business owners do. But if I had one tip, it would be, check your threshold for what you can handle quickly as well.
Right. So how can people find you? I think everybody should know right now, because she did prove herself to be a really good marketer, because she told you several times what the name of her company was. By now, you should know it's the Wix Doctor, right?
Yes.
So tell everyone how they can find you on, you said it, social media, your website.
So I am the THE Wix, WIX Doctor, DOCTOR.com. My skills are, I can be found on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I do have a Twitter page, but I'm not as active on Twitter as I am on Facebook and Instagram. And I'd love to, and my email is the THEWIX Dr. DR @gmail.com. So if anybody has any questions there.
It's DR, not the whole word.
It's not the whole word. Okay. It's DR @gmail.com.
Let me make that change. The Wix DR. Okay. All right, so there you go. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much, Lynn, for being here today. We really appreciate all the tips and strategies for marketing our business, for getting our website together, and understanding that just having a social media presence or just having a social media platform is not enough. You
Right.
need to have that home base, which is your website. It's the only piece of
Right.
real estate in the internet sphere that you actually own, right? And
Yeah.
can customize to your liking. So
Right.
thanks again for being here today. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I
Make
really
sure you
appreciate
need some help with
supporting
your
small businesses right now too. I
yeah,
I
okay.
love that. So thank you.
You're welcome. If you need some help with your Wix website and you have one and you're up against a wall, because I know I've been there several times, reach out to Lynn and she can definitely help you to get past that hurdle. All right. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow.